Jolan True, one and all. This is Trekyards, and I'm Captain Foley.
I feel like I should be looking at you with disdain, as every person did in this last episode at that phrase. But no, I won't, Stuart, because we have a ship. We're looking at a ship. We are Trekyards, and we got new views of this old ship.
Antique Romulan bird of prey. Love it. Thought that was great. Well, this is episode 4, called Absolute Candor. And, we get this basically warlord-owned ship. That's an antique ship, and I think it's great. It's basically a TOS-style bird of prey. We think more movie era because of the detail and plating and stuff on it, but...
Yeah, I mean, the obvious thing is, it's the same ship. There's two ways of looking at it. Either it's a visual reboot, saying this is what it always looked like, therefore retconning all of TOS, or just say that antique is quite a broad term, and TOS is only one era, so just make it TMP era, and it can still be antique, and it's just a later version. And I think we're both going to agree it's a later version. We hope that Memory Alpha and when the Eaglemoss does, it won't be a little... Because, I mean, they can either retcon or be respectful. It's 50-50 coin toss. Coin toss. And if in terms of like a later version, I think it looks pretty cool. I like how they treat it in the episode, although they say it's antique and low energy, low efficiency, but also it can burn through their shields quite quickly, and it's interesting how they sort of set up as being weak, but also strong, but also easily beatable, but also it's like...
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Lost Serena is a smaller ship, so it's like a, battleship going up against a smaller corvette kind of thing, or shuttle. But yeah, you'd think that the energy systems, the shieldings, the weapons would be upgraded. The weapons look pretty powerful, and like you said, they did take the shields down rather quickly.
But I'll give them credit for we are used to the idea of the Federation where we're following a hero ship, normally, always, a strong ship of the fleet, which also has secondary craft and all the things. But in reality, most people don't have access to warp-capable ships. And so when you have a ship like this, even though it's antique, it's a bigger ship. You can put more people, you can have more space for a bigger warp core. Yeah, but the next picture then was good to me because you got a sense of what was under the hood or under the hull. And I guess there are disruptor ports. There's two little dots either side. These are digitally enhanced. I upgraded the brightness and stuff because the scenes are quite dark.
Yeah, it looks like there's 2 on each side in each of the side square boxes there.
But the next picture, though, look what we're starting to see, Stuart.
I know. There's a bird on the bottom. Well, you never really see it. This is the closest you get to. You can see the beak there, I guess. There is a scene later where you see like the wing detail on the strut.
Well, Stuart, go to the next picture and you'll be surprised what I managed to dig up.
Very reminiscent of John Eve's bird that he put on the bottom of the ship for Enterprise, which never made it to the show. So I like that. I like this adaptation of the bird.
Yeah, it works well. It's subtle but used enough in these shots, and it's definitely a pointier. Already, you can tell it's a pointier version of the bird. Look at those aggressive wing slices of feathers. Yeah, it's nice. And then also, I kind of like that it's not a solid bird. Like the fact the beak is... It's hard to reinvent the wheel, and I think they did a good job here. Although, I don't know why there's so many little lights on the bottom. They're not windows.
Yeah, there's little lights all over it, along the rim of the thing, on the top and the bottom.
Because Blinky equal advanced.
Right. As for the bird, though, there's some more feathers and stuff as far as tail feathers go. The original one had like 3 tail feathers, if I recall correctly.
What do you think of this new back of Pylon, clearly impulse engines?
I think that's a cool feature. On this particular ship, I think it's a fantastic idea. And yeah, it looks good as well. It's visually interesting and it makes perfect sense, especially when you get into like ships from Star Trek Online, where most of the struts and even the Intrepid has the impulse engines kind of located at the rear of or on the struts. I think it's a good progression, especially if it's been an upgraded ship. But it makes it look more fierce, I think. So good job for adding that.
No, yeah, it's I got the sense that this thing had been heavily upgraded over the years, and they really wanted, because you kind of do so much with it, but if you give it a lot of impulse drives with maybe the maneuverability will be the extra edge you need. If this thing isn't capable of really defeating bigger ships, then maybe that extra bit of maneuverability, it's good, and more glows equals future. That's obviously the mentality. But again, it's hard to reinvent the wheel, and this is a simple reinventing touch that I think, and I'm sure John Eves did this because it's so faithful that, that it looks good. But the next picture is a side view, and I like all the shapes. It's the same yet different. And that's what we said about the Discovery Enterprise. It's like it is all the all the shapes are different, but it feels the same. This is similar, although actually much, much similar than that.
Yeah, and this was the one shot that really impressed me, where you see this thing fly by and then another ship like zoom in. I mean, I thought it was really well done, and they held on it for quite a while, which I liked. The only issue I had was the motion blur. Couldn't really see the ship in too much detail, but yeah, you're right. It looks the same shapes, with slightly tweaked, of course, as the TOS one, and that's one of my favorite designs. So. I'm just in love. I'm happy to see it. This was, like I said, one of the best parts of this episode for me. So,
yeah, we'll go to the next picture, and you can really I've digitally enhanced it, and whatever. I mean, you can see how incredibly faithful it is, but also the way they've done the plate detail. It's not a huge ship, but it's got good. It's a well balanced, new and old, and it's too old in a sense, but having the antique works well. I hope they would have said it. I hope they'll say in Eagle Moss that it's a TMP era, because I think this could fit in almost just fine.
Oh, absolutely! Very, very reminiscent of the TMP era. Just even the Katingas, the extra plating, the refit, extra detail on the refits as well. So yeah, this fits in beautifully. It looks very similar to the ones we see in Starfleet Command games, and even though the engines are more square and more refit style in that game, I prefer the rounder engines here, especially the extra cowling they put at the front over the Bizarre collectors. So this ship, I got to give them props. This is something they did very well, in my opinion. So good job.
But I don't think we're necessarily going to see anything like this again, because this is deliberately called out as a one-off antique. So this is obviously one of those, I wouldn't say necessarily fan service so much as rather than design something new. Because remember, now the ship that we're in, the Lysanza, what's it called? Now we've got the La Serena. It is a small, not very capable ship. So you can't be throwing Pterodexes against it, or the pride of the fleet. You've got to, they need to make story conceits to why it can win. Because it can't face bigger ships. It's not very capable. It's just a transport freighter. And so Hogan's thing was a good idea. It makes sense thematically, logically, how this rundown backwater planet can, it made sense. And then but we're going to see other ships later on, and hopefully we're going to get some bigger Romulan modern ships that don't like this, because this now we've definitely ascertained it was an old. But how much is it to be an antique? 100 years? Is that the only criteria? Sort of?
I don't know as far as starships go, but I know like cars, I think it's 30 years makes it a classic, 40 years makes it an antique. So,
cool. I think we both see this being fully TNG, like just straight out of even post TNG to some extent. Mostly because of the Pylon engine glows. That's not really a TNG trait in the way it is, but you can see it being a post TNG, and this is now quite a long way after things. But straight at the back view, we see the impulse engines, because it does have them as well. And it has two. I mean, this obviously, after it's been depowered, although it still fires weapons, which, as you said, was a nice touch. Has those little lights behind the bridge module.
But you can see that compared, if you were to compare this to the TOS,
which we will,
they've added extra impulse units to the back of the main body, and yeah, it looks like there's those ones behind the bridge could also be like this thing's impulse powered up, which I really like, considering what Samuel said earlier, that adds to maneuverability. So it's not a big ship, we know that. These are not huge ships. So you add the impulse engines in the struts, the ones at the back, you got a lot more maneuverability and a lot more capability for a ship.
Well,
yeah.
So if you can dodge phaser fire, because you can sort of, they are auto aim, but you can sort of maneuver around them. I also like the end of the Bassards, or the end of the nacelles. It's exactly, feels about right, and yet newer. It's good. But let's do some comparisons. Here is a side-by-side, relatively the same view, and you just appreciate how
faithful it is.
It's just a modern reinventing that's core belief is let's keep it the same but modernized. And my God, if this was only the Discovery aesthetic, as in it being a visual reboot, this would have been correct. And the Klingon stuff makes you sad because they were capable of doing this.
You can see some differences, of course. Less detail on the nacelles. You see the plasma launcher on the front of the TOS version, but the plasma launcher went the way of the dinosaur because it didn't work out so well. So they replaced those with the disruptor things at the front. That's fine. And the main section at the top, the bridge module, whatever you want to call it, is more of a steeper look on the new one. The only thing that I'm kind of disappointed about is there's no feathering detail on the top of the struts.
But I think that's now the engines. I think he's taken that as a artistic license to give them glows.
Ooh, yes, okay.
I think that's the equivalent. I mean, I think you could easily argue this is a better design, the new one. Yeah. But the back view now, yeah, you know, it is good. It does what it does well.
The original one had like impulse style engines at the back, just built into the hull. I like the addition of the ones that stick out on the new ship. I think it adds an extra dimensionality to that back. I'd love to see orthos of this thing, actually. I really want to see the bird in full detail and compare the birds.
Again, the faithfulness, the subtleties of the approval process obviously let them get away with this, whereas in the olden days of Discovery and JJ, they'd say make it look more different. Now, even to the point of the back of the nacelle, it's got the little dip and then the exact same. I mean, that's correct. I mean, good for them, you know. No, it's you could not have asked for more, I don't think, honestly. This is as close as you could possibly have got, and it shows that it can be done relatively straightforwardly.
So I hope they keep it up. Like you said, I'm sure we're not going to see any more ships like this, but it was nice to at least see this.
Did its job well, and hope you guys enjoyed this close-up look with digitally enhanced pictures and whatnot. We are the Ship Guys, and I think we did this one justice. But do tune in to our other videos, guys, on other days, looking at lots of different topics and our lives on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, probably, and then Stuart's First Reaction on Thursday. This episode, as always, we're going to give some good details, so do join in if you can.
That's right, and if you can support the channel, please do so. You can join us for the lives and send super chats. You can head on over to Trekyards.com, click the donate button, which goes right into our PayPal. If you want our PayPal address, it's down below in the description, so you can send us PayPal just directly. And Patreon is a great way to help us also. It's a monthly based service, and that's kind of the backbone of the show right now. So if you can donate to Patreon, please do. But if you want to have some cool special features for the chats and stuff, there is a join button down there beside the subscribe button. So make sure the subscribe button's clicked, but also click the join button. You can become the rank of commander, captain, or admiral. Different perks for each. So go check that out, and that's another way to help us out on a monthly basis and just add some fun, especially if you join us for the live chats and stuff. So check it out, guys.
Yeah, it's brand new. It's brand new.
That's right. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Connor Combs.
See you later.